I recap horror, and if you've ever rented an Airbnb before, you are going to like this video. The mishaps these people experience after renting an Airbnb for the weekend might make you reconsider renting one in the future just because everything looks good online. Today we are recapping The Rental, directed by Dave Franco and released in 2020. These two couples go on a trip to a beautiful mountain cabin where a betrayal happens amongst them that causes things to not just go wrong when they are toyed with and watched by a psychopathic peeping Tom they barely even see until it's way too late. Let's get into it. A man and woman, Mina and Charlie, clearly close, are seen researching a vacation cabin online before someone walks in greeting them. He is Mina's boyfriend and Charlie's brother. Charlie wanting to take a vacation getaway to celebrate closing a big deal at work. That night, Charlie and his wife Michelle are talking back at home. Charlie criticizing Josh, putting him down because of his past. We learn Josh recently got out of jail for beating up a frat guy pretty badly. That he thinks Charlie is only in love with Mina because he's hit the jackpot with her, not because he possesses actual feelings like that for her. The next morning, it's time to head out. Charlie gives Josh shit for bringing his dog Reggie due to the no pets rule. While driving, the group notices the owner of the Airbnb denied Mina's request for the cabin, but accepted Charlie's the same afternoon, implying that it was because of a racist owner, as all he would have had to go off of is her name, Mina Mohammadi. Josh takes up for Mina as his brother says there may just be some other explanation. After a few hours of driving, they arrive to a beautiful, secluded cabin on a high mountain overlooking the ocean. The owner, Taylor, is a complete weirdo, popping up out of nowhere, scolding them for coming inside without permission. Charlie introduces everyone, Michelle, Josh, and then calls Mina his partner before correcting himself, saying she's his work partner. And Taylor is completely racist, as Mina and Josh presumed, visibly treating her as less than and also asking her how she got mixed in with this family. Michelle mentioned she should have brought her telescope, Taylor offering to bring his over for them to borrow. Before he leaves, Mina stands up for herself, asking what was wrong with her reservation when Charlie's got accepted an hour later. Taylor basically ignores her, spouting more Airbnb disclosure talk before he makes his exit. Asshole, Mina says, and Josh comforts her. Michelle unpacks, swiping at some debris on the bed. Charlie hooks up to the Wi-Fi, and Josh takes in the sights with Reggie outside. Mina is suspicious of the entire place. Josh tells Michelle how inspired he actually is by Mina. Josh then asks her how she feels about Mina and Charlie being so close. Her not worried, saying they just work together. They get back at the cabin, and to everyone's surprise, Telescope is waiting for them in the living room, presumably Taylor, who barged in while they were not there. Mina's the only one to voice how off-putting that is. A little later that night, slightly annoyed, she is convinced by Charlie to take a dip in the hot tub. As much as they try to make it seem like they're not gonna hook up, they obviously do. They even flirt and get a little too close to each other. Mina, in an attempt to not cheat on Josh, and also because Reggie barks and then runs away from something, leaves the hot tub, bidding Charlie goodnight. The camera then cuts to a faraway shot. Someone is watching them, standing very still, breathing very slowly. The next thing you know, Mina in a fuzzy haze in the shower is accompanied by Charlie. And they do the damn thing, obviously, both officially cheating on their significant others. The next day, breakfast is more awkward than ever. They end up bailing on the hike. When they are left alone, they promise it can never happen again. Michelle and Josh go on the hike, and we learn a little bit more background about Charlie. Michelle informing Josh that he actually had a girlfriend named Jen when he started dating her. Josh informing Michelle that he was with someone else right before he got with Jen. The camera then cuts, revealing someone is watching them as well. Back at the cabin, Mina takes a shower. When she pauses for a moment, she notices a little camera in one of the spouts in the shower head. She freaks out and tells Charlie, and when he goes to check him and Michelle's shower, there's no doubt a camera in there. Michelle wants to call the cops, but Charlie says they can't on account that Michelle and Josh might find out what they did. They brainstorm on what they should do, but end up deciding to just play it cool and finish out their last night at the cabin. Being the only one not to party the previous night, Michelle does just that. Josh then notices Reggie's missing. He starts panicking, Mina and Josh telling him not to worry as they help him look all over with zero luck. Michelle, wanting to take a dip in the hot tub, notices it is not working and decides to call Taylor to come and fix it. Paranoid, Taylor may have actually taken Reggie due to the no pets rule. Josh tells everyone he plans to confront him when he gets there. Mina and Charlie are super apprehensive about him coming due to what they found earlier. Taylor arrives drunk and says he knows nothing about the dog, just wanting to fix the hot tub and leave. Just before he is about to get in his truck and leave, Mina decides to confront Taylor about the cameras. She simply cannot ignore the disgusting feeling she has because of what's on them now. She leads him to the bathroom and Taylor thinks she's about to bring up a plumbing issue, advising an extra pull on the lever. But Mina stares, almost surprised he can act so dim, and just warns him they are going to go to the cops if he ever does anything with the footage. Confused, Taylor asks what she's even talking about. Mina shows him the camera in the shower head. Taylor then claims he had nothing to do with that, offended even and thinking the group is just trying to get a free trip. Even saying he will call the cops at this point, taking out his phone. As Mina tries to stop him and goes for his phone, he throws her off of him, which Josh sees. Armed with a bad temper and a strong protection from Mina, he runs into the bathroom, knocking Taylor over and nearly beats him to death until Charlie eventually gets him off the old man. Taylor is left bloodied and knocked out cold in the bathtub, but he's still alive. Mina explains to Josh outside that it was just a misunderstanding. When they all regroup outside, her and Charlie come clean to everyone about the house being bugged. The camera cuts again. The same person watching them. The cameras in the cabin belonging to him, watching the group gather outside. The peeping Tom then goes into the bathroom where Taylor is, putting his hand over Taylor's nose and mouth, suffocating him to death. Back outside, Michelle says they need to call the cops, but when they go back inside to check on Taylor, they find his dead body. And of course they assume that Josh did it. Michelle saying now they must call the cops, but Charlie will not let his brother go to jail for life over this. Michelle now looking at Charlie a bit differently. Charlie, remembering Taylor was drunk, looks at the cliff and gets an idea. What if he just stumbled over? Charlie says there's no proof he ever showed up. When she mentions the cameras, they start brainstorming even more. Dump Taylor over the edge, find the cameras, and leave the cabin. When the three throw Taylor's body over the cliff, he actually gets stuck a little ways down. The group in frustration tries throwing boulders, only making the situation worse. Finally, Josh descends the cliff himself. Mina and Charlie notice and tell him to come back up, that it's not worth dying over. Josh, stuck in his waist, tells them to let him go, and he barely reaches Taylor safely before saying, "I'll see you in hell," and pushing his body over. The group believes they are getting close to getting out of there, but this is only because they believe Taylor is solely responsible for this mishap. The real Cycle's plan is going off without a hitch. He leads Michelle, who is back inside alone, upstairs to the den by turning on the showers one by one for her to follow. When she reaches the den, something is on the TV playing for her. That something being Charlie and Mina in the shower the previous night. Michelle is shell-shocked. The psycho, who we see wears a mask, is back outside by the rest of the group. Very close but patient. Michelle leaving in a fast haze in the only vehicle they have, before she scolds Charlie for what he's done, asking him, "Who are you?" before driving off. She doesn't get far though, as there's a trap already set for her. Her tires blowing out, causing her to wreck. Stuck in the forest with no choice, she texts Charlie for help. In the dark of the window, we see the masked man running straight for her. Josh wondering how they are going to get out of there, his brother reminds him to just stick to the plan before going to help Michelle in the woods. This is when the killer now gets Charlie, beating him to death. Josh and Mina are still searching for the cameras, a router, a hard drive, anything they can find to rid the house of the equipment. They are both heavily stressed out at this point for different reasons. Mina goes back inside to give him a moment when he gets a text. He goes inside and meets her upstairs in the den, the home video no longer playing on the TV. The text to Josh being a recording of Mina saying, "This can never happen again." Josh asking her what that means and why he got that. Next, the sex tape is sent to Josh's phone from Charlie's phone. The killer sending it to Josh to rile him up. Barely able to listen to Mina's excuses, he is so mad now and only focused on finding his brother. "I'm going to fucking kill you, Charlie," he says. We get visuals through each one of the cameras that are actually hidden. They are obviously everywhere, more than the group ever thought. Charlie, frantically going around the house to find his brother for revenge, is finally met with our killer coming out of the closet suddenly. He hits Josh in the face and falls with a thud. Mina hearing it and coming down the stairs. She sees the killer come out of his hiding spot and makes a run for it back upstairs. The killer almost walks right past Josh as he goes for Mina. Laying on the ground, barely conscious, Josh tries to grab the killer's foot. He then gets a hammer straight into his head. Mina, quick thinking, drops her shoe from the balcony upstairs. When the killer gets up there and sees it, he thinks she made a run for it. As she comes out of the hiding spot, it's a race to find a charged phone, stay quiet, and hide. But when she reaches outside, he is there and attacks her. She stabs him with something right in the face and falls, breaking her ankle. As she looks up at him, he simply pulls the weapon out of his face and continues for her. Sprinting through the foggy woods as fast as she can manage, he is hot on her trail. Hidden behind a tree, she gets a breather and then makes a break for it again. Barely able to see what is going on, Mina ends up running straight off the edge of the cliff, falling to her death. Killer reaches where she fell and stares. His mission seemingly done, he goes back inside to gather up all his supplies. The hammer, taking out the showerhead cameras, the plant cameras, the wall plug and recording devices, and so on. Taking a last moment to look in the mirror, he takes off his mask, and we never see his face. Reggie comes inside to greet him, and he gives him a little petting and leaves the cabin. Film ends with a different Airbnb owner giving our killer a tour. She leaves, and we then see him shaving down a key to fit the one she gave him to the Airbnb. We then see him setting out camera supplies, recording devices, and so on, to set them out throughout the home.